She walked onto that ship like a ghost stepping out of the past. Her boots were worn, her uniform weathered by time and salt, and the moment the crew spotted her, they started laughing. Not the kind of laughter that's warm or welcoming. No, this was the kind that cuts deep. The kind that says, you don't belong here. But she didn't flinch. She didn't look away. There was something in the way she moved, something that made the wind itself seem to pause and pay attention. Then the Admiral spoke up, his voice dripping with amusement. "Hey, you there?" he shouted over the clang of metal and the roar of the ocean. "What's your rank?" "Sailor." "Please don't tell me you snuck aboard just to scrub the deck." I had no idea. None of them did, but in just a few seconds, everything was about to flip upside down. Before I dive into what happened next, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. I genuinely love hearing from you all. It keeps me going. So picture this. A perfect afternoon somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The destroyer, a massive beast of steel and discipline, was slicing through the water like it owned the place. Sunlight danced off its frame, and the air was thick with the smell of salt water and diesel fuel. Officers in their crisp white uniforms were scattered across the deck, getting ready for an inspection. Everything looked routine. Everything looked normal. And then there was her, standing quietly among all the chaos, her eyes locked in the distant horizon. Her name tag simply read S. Rohan. Nobody saluted her when she came on board. Nobody even asked who she was. She was just another face in the crowd, or so they thought. The Admiral was still grinning, clearly enjoying himself. "Come on, Sealer," he pressed, his tone almost playful. "Let's hear it. What's your rank?" She turned toward him, squinting a little against the harsh glare of the sun reflecting off the water. And then, in a voice so calm it felt like the silence before a storm, she said, "Fleet Commander." The laughter died instantly. The Admiral's grin disappeared. The sea breeze seemed to hold its breath. Even the usual sounds of the ship, the chains rattling, the boots thumping, seemed to stop. It was like the entire vessel had suddenly tuned into her voice. "I'm sorry," the Admiral said, his voice tight now, no longer playful. "Did you just say Fleet Commander?" "Yes, her," she replied without hesitation. "Fleet Commander Samantha Rowan. I've been ordered to take command of Task Force 7. Starting today." A wave of murmurs spread across the deck like wildfire. The Admiral's face turned pale. The name hit him like a freight train. He knew it. Everyone in the Navy knew it. Years ago, during what they called the Titan disaster, one of the worst naval fires in modern history, Commander Rowan had been officially listed as killed in action. Her body was never recovered. They held a memorial, Te Mobed on. "You?" the Admiral stammered, his voice barely steady. "You were on the Titan. You're supposed to be dead." Her eyes locked onto his gum, but ice cold. "That's what the report said," she answered. "But reports don't always tell the whole truth, do they, Admiral?" The wind picked up again, brushing strands of her hair across her face. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then she took a step closer, her boots echoing on the metal deck. 37 of my men made it out that day," she said quietly. "The 38th didn't, because someone gave the order to retreat too early." The Admiral's throat went dry. His mind flashed back to that day. The static crackling over the radio, the smoke, the screams, the impossible decision he made to pull back. He'd told himself for years it was the only choice. He'd convinced himself he saved more lives by retreating, but the guilt never left. It followed him like a shadow. "I thought," he began, but she gently raised her hand, stopping him. "I didn't come back for explanations," she said, her voice steady but firm. "I came back because we lost more than lives that day. We lost something deeper. We lost integrity, and it's my duty to restore it." The Admiral's mouth opened, but no words came out. The younger sailors, the same ones who'd been laughing just minutes ago, now stood frozen, eyes wide, hearts pounding in their chests. The tension on that deck was so thick you could almost hear it humming in the air, a deep, heavy weight of shame and awe mixed together. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the Admiral stepped back. His hands were trembling as he slowly removed his cap. "Fleet Commander Rohan," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "Welcome aboard." She returned his salute. It was sharp, powerful, final. That moment hung in the air like a painting frozen in time. The sunlight reflected off her uniform. The ocean behind her was calm as glass. It felt like the entire sea had been waiting for this exact moment. This moment of justice, of accountability, of truth, finally rising to the surface. Or espace. The ship continued cutting through the endless blue, but below deck, in the mess holes, in the corridors, whispers spread like ripples in water. The woman they'd left for dead had returned. Not with anger, not with vengeance, but with something far more powerful. Purpose, because here's the thing. Real leadership isn't about shouting orders or flexing power. It's not about rank or medals or who gets to sit at the front of the room. Real leadership is about having the courage to face what others run from. It's about standing up when it's easier to stay silent. It's about carrying the weight of responsibility even when no one's watching. And Commander Rohan understood that better than anyone. She didn't come back to embarrass the Admiral. She didn't come back to destroy careers or settle scores. She came back because someone had to. Someone had to stand for the men who couldn't speak anymore. Someone had to remind everyone that honor isn't just a word you throw around. It's something you live by. The sun continued to shimmer across the deck, brighter than before, as if the ocean itself had finally exhaled, as if the weight of years of silence and guilt had been lifted, just a little. And in that moment, the crew understood something they hadn't before. They understood that kindness doesn't vanish at sea. It doesn't drown in the deep. It wades beneath the waves, quiet and patient, until the moment it's needed most. And when it rises again, it doesn't come with rage. It comes with clarity, with dignity, with strength that can't be shaken. If this story moved you, if it made you think about leadership, about integrity, about what it really means to stand up when no one else will, then hit that subscribe button. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me what leadership means to you. Your voice matters. Your stories matter. And together, we keep these moments alive.